Hello, everybody. Wow, got a glare on these glasses. Yes, no makeup. Turn on the heater. Of course, I'm always cold. Um, my tooth's feeling better. But I have some exciting news to share with y'all. Uh, I've been having to, I guess you could say, make a lot of decisions here lately that I didn't really want to make. Um, as I get older, I just want to stay put, and life has a way of saying no, no. I'm gonna take you over here anyway. Um, I was thinking around here, where I'm at. I mean, it's kind of small, I guess you could say, depending on where you're from. Um, but there's not a whole lot of opportunities for any kind of real advancement, and unless you just move completely away. Well, I don't have that option. Um, I mean, I could move, but not to anywhere that's much better than where I'm at. Not saying there's anything wrong with where I'm at. As I said, there's just not very many opportunities. Um, I had even thought about going back to school and getting my degree or finishing my degree. But honestly, and I don't want to, if anybody my age or even older is thinking about going back to school, to college, um, don't let this dissuade you at all. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just giving y'all some personal things in going on in my life. I just honestly think I'm too old to go back to school. And of course, everybody tells me, no, you're not. You're never too old, blah, blah, blah. Well, um, plus, I honestly anymore just do not have the patience. I just don't. I admit it. I'm, I'm more of one of those hands-on people. I want to do it as I'm learning it. I learn it better that way. I always have. But anyway, I don't know if maybe I'm going through, I'm at that age to where I'm just like, what do I do now? You know, too old to do this, too young for that. So I just sit, stagnate. Well, you know what happens to things when they just sit and stagnate. Anyway, so I consulted my goddess. And I just said, here, you deal with it. I can't seem to make up my mind. So I'm just going to say, here it is, put it on the table, and you do what you feel is necessary for my life. Wake up yesterday and had two separate job offers, which is a good thing. But one's that direction and one is that direction. One's a lot closer, pays less, but it's closer. One's pays quite a bit more and is quite a bit more away. So that's the dilemma I'm in tonight, figuring out which is the best move to make. Um, and as any of y'all have watched me the last couple of days or haven't, whatever, I wasn't on here last night, but I haven't felt very good either. No, I don't have COVID. I um, just, had started out with a really bad toothache, which I still have a little bit, but it's, thank goodness, to where now I don't want to bash my face in with a hammer. And, then I got to sneeze. And of course, at least one time a year, my allergies always get the best of me, which is another reason I'm not even bothering to put on makeup nowadays. Not till all that crap's over, because my eyes run. I'm always wiping my nose, and there's just no sense in it. But anyway, once again, whenever I say that even witches are human, that's what I mean. Um, no witch is going to sit before you and say that they don't have their own personal problems in their own personal lives, just like you do. Just like you do. We have good days, we have bad days. I think the only difference between us is we may, well, some of us may understand them a little bit better and know how to cope with them a little bit better, because we've learned our meditations. We know that it's not always going to be roses. There's going to be thorns, and it's going to rise and fall. Same as any human being. You don't have to be a witch to um, experience a human experience. Pretty much. I mean, that's all it is a human experience. The whole thing is, and I'll tell y'all why this brought me to this when I'm done. The whole thing is, you have to learn coping mechanisms, healthy ways to deal with an issue. Okay, and there's thousands of issues a person could have. Not having enough money. Well, most of us go through that all the time. Which brings on what? Stress. Stress will and has killed people. You have got to learn to kind of level that off. There's where your meditation techniques come in. There's where reading your books comes in. That's where talking to your gods and goddesses comes in. Finding your own personal space where everything else in the world stops and it's just you. And even if it's just a moment of silence, sometimes that is all your mind needs to reprogram itself, to start back over. It's like, okay, everything's good now. I breathe for a minute. I'm good to go. Oh, well, thank you, Cat Hacker. I'm pretty much right now just talking about the human experience among witches. But yeah, the whole reason that I even mentioned that was because in my field, I've worked in psych hospitals, nursing homes, regular hospitals, pretty much anywhere and everywhere that there is nurses. Okay, I've seen patients come in, and they've talked to me, not because I'm their counselor, but I don't know, they just talk to me, and they honestly just don't know how to deal with stress or the anxiety, or um, whatever reason made them turn to alcohol or drugs or eating. There's a lot of disorders that people, or things that people substitute for coping. It becomes the way they cope. It's their coping mechanisms. Nobody's actually here though. Why do you keep going this? Oh, well, because It's recorded. I have a lot of them that come back and watch them later. That's why I do it. Because I'm usually on here pretty late at night, and I know a lot of people work, so they're sleeping. There's my little brother. Hello, Aiden. I think some witches, especially younger ones, get lost in this notion that because they practice magic, they're better than the non-witches. Exactly, Aiden. That is why I'm trying to stress first and foremost that we are human too. Just because we've learned to manipulate energies does not mean that we can always do it. You know, everything is not always going to be perfect. So um, that's what I was saying. You know, I had a person ask me, is why I brought that subject up. They emailed me, and I felt it was very important to address because there are so many people out there that have some sort of addiction. Um, I don't care if you're rich, you know, you're probably addicted to money. So therefore, you are nonstop working. Um, the kind of individual that never sees their family or their family never sees you because you're always at work. Um, Work can become an addiction. Anything can become an addiction. And it doesn't matter what it is. Ice cream, you know, smoking, you name it, it can become an addiction. Um, the whole thing is learning somehow to control that. I have mine. I mean, I'm a smoker. I drink too much Dr. Pepper. um, you know, and I have been known to gamble too much. Um, and I'm a witch and have been one for years. Um, that's the human side of us. And I guess you could also put that in with your shadow side. You could call it your shadow side. That's why we do shadow work. We go in, we sit ourselves down, and we say, okay, you had a bad week. Why did you have a bad week? And then we just start breaking it down, and then learn, hopefully, probably not to do that again. We probably do it again though. Everyone's addicted to money though. I had $400. I robbed a bank and shot the cashier telling him to give me more. Joking, but money's pretty addicting. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because it is something that you pretty much have to have, you know. I mean, people do some weird stuff for money. Like you said, I know that was a joke, but people actually do rob and kill for it. You know, it's that important to them, or I don't know. Um, drugs, drugs is a big one because if you're on drugs or if you're drunk all the time, you don't have to cope with reality. You don't have to care about if you can pay next month's rent or not because you don't care. As long as you know where that next beer is coming from or that next bottle or that next joint or that next hit, whatever, you know. Be stressful. I'm a kid, but like I've seen people get stuck with those things. Right. Yeah. And that's extremely sad. And it's even more sad that you had to see that. um, like I said, in my field, I've seen a lot, and I'm always that type of person that likes to get down to what made that person um, react that way, or um, I don't know what clicks in somebody's head. Now there are mental disorders, as we all know. Um, Schizophrenia is a very unpredictable condition. You just don't know. And when the individual is put on medication to control these conditions, all of a sudden that person will say, okay, well, I feel fine now. You know, this is so common. They'll say, I feel fine now. I don't need that anymore. And they stop taking it. Number one, a lot of these medications cannot just be stopped. I mean, that will set you off probably worse than you were to begin with. And opioids, yeah. And you're right, the social media, I mean, I never in my life thought that I would be on here, Aiden, seriously. I'm not a big society person. I'm actually pretty private, but something just told me to get on here, and I had fun doing it. My main reason when I got on here was to get to know and be able to talk to some other witches because I don't have that luxury. I don't have people that are like me around me that I can go visit. I had one friend here that was a witch, and she moved off. So I don't have anybody that I have that in common with, and to me, I love talking about witchcraft. Um, it's my life. It's what I live by every single second of my life. And coming on here and talking, I feel like I get that out. I'm able to speak with other witches or people that are like me. To me, that's a lot healthier than going, oh, I'm bored. What am I going to do with myself? I think I'll go get me a 12-pack of beer. Not saying that drinking's bad. Every once in a while, throw down, have fun. But when you wake up and the first thing you do is open up any kind of alcohol, or light a joint, or, of course, I must take marijuana out of that equation now because it is proven to be medically um, enhancing. It's good for certain medical conditions. Some people may have to smoke it first thing in the morning just to, anyway, for whatever reason. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. You wake up and right before you even put a foot down on the floor, roll over and, take a line of that Coke, snort a line of that Coke. When you can get out of that bed without any of that stuff and face that day, that makes you a strong person, you know. And just because you may have an addiction does not mean you're weak. You have been weakened, but you are not weak, and there is help. There's plenty of people that will help you. The real heroes are Miley Cyrus and Stevie Nicks are making one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. It's gave me chills and hope for a future in such a dark time. Did they just make it? Wow, that's an odd duo. Miley Cyrus and Stevie Nicks. Oh my. I'm not a Miley Cyrus fan, but Stevie is my idol. I love Stevie Nicks. And that I loved her long before I found out she was a witch. An hour ago. Holy crap. Alrighty then. I'll listen to it. I may spit nails. I'll be going, Molly, what are you doing up there with the queen? Oh yeah. And you can bet with Stevie being there, Miley Cyrus yeah, that helped her out a lot. That is the most, well, I don't know. I've seen some pretty awkward duos in my time. But I'm gonna have to listen to that. That's just got my curiosity running rampant. Yeah, not that I dislike Molly. She's not somebody I listen to or look at most of the time. But back to what I was saying, just because we're witches does not mean that we're perfect. And I don't know how many times I ask when I come on here and I have a toothache, or I'll tell y'all, oh, God, I've had a bad day, blah, blah, blah. And then I get a comment, or something going, but you're a witch. Why didn't you change that? Can't you change it? And a lot of the times I don't know if they're making fun of me, picking on me, or if they're actually serious and believe that. So, yes, Cat Hacker, I smoke. I know. See, I haven't seen that one either, Aiden. Lady Gaga and Elton John. Wow. No. No, 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 no. No. I say no. I don't know. I guess whatever works. Sometimes opposites do well together. Who knows? But if you're a witch, and you find yourself with these addictions, or something that you want to change, then turn to your craft. Hello, that's what it's there for. Pure been rickrolled. I mean, it's a joke. I don't even know what that means, Kat. I have no idea what that means. Aiden, do you know what he's talking about? I don't have any idea. But yeah, anytime that you feel that, and if you can't go to your altar, or do something to help it along yourself, to help you get over it, then please go see a doctor. Get help. And whatever you do, don't blame it on the craft. I don't like that either. I don't want to hear you say, well, if this or that goddess, really cared for me, she would have helped me. Well, did you ask her? Did you put in the work that it took for her to recognize that you really needed and wanted that help and were willing to help yourself? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that meant, Cat Hacker. And I don't know that I want to know. But, and I mean, y'all can email me and talk to me if you don't want to talk on private like this, or, on, not private, but you know what I mean, online like this. I mean, I'm no psychologist. I'm not a doctor. Um, but I'm human also, and I have been through a lot of crap, believe it or not. There's probably not a whole lot of emotions and things that I have not experienced, seriously. Um, but as I said, you have got to be willing to help yourself. So those of you that are emailing me and saying, how do I get over this and how do I get over that? You already know the answer to that question. You just have to implement it. You've got to start something in motion towards that goal. I mean, I could sit here all day long and dream about, okay, I'm going to do this and make all these plans and write them down and what have you. But unless I get up go out the door and actually do that first step, it's pretty much pointless. You know, it's probably not going to happen because these gods and goddesses put things in our path when we ask for them. It's up to us to reach out and grab them, to take advantage of that, to see the opportunity that's in front of you. Don't come into witchcraft. I guess all this boils down to, do not enter into witchcraft thinking that you are going to have it all. Okay? Don't do that. That's your first big mistake. Because you're still going to have issues. You're still going to have times when you wonder and think, well, what about this? And it'll pass. What you have to learn to do is keep your head on through the storm. Imagine going through a storm. You take cover, right? You shelter yourself. You wait for it to pass. Then you reemerge. If everything's tore down, you rebuild it. If it's not so bad, then you just kind of, go on. You see the metaphor I'm trying to make here. I mean, there's been times in my life I've honestly made a pure mess out of myself and my life, but somehow or another I always get back up. Yes, a lot in part to my goddess, but mainly it's because of me. I chose to do it for me and only me. You see what I'm saying? You cannot be a strong witch and have the mindset of an alcoholic or a druggie or a thief, a career criminal. They do not go hand in hand. Okay? Put all that effort, all that pent up anger, hostility, emotion, sadness, whatever you have inside of you that's making you turn to these things that become really bad addictions, that will either you'll end up dead or in prison, put all that emotion, that strength into your craft. If that's what you want to do, you have to have a good mind to be in witchcraft, to be a good witch. And I don't mean a good witch as in, oh, I don't hex people. I mean a good sorceress. Because without that energy in your own mind, you don't have it to put out anywhere. And if your energy's all clouded with muck and green fog, you're gonna be able to do nothing, So if you're having any issues, talk to someone. Like I said, I'm no doctor. Sometimes it just helps to vent to someone. And I'll always be here for anyone. They don't have to be a witch. My occupation, like I said, is a nurse. So, and I've experienced a lot of this. So, thank goodness. I mean, I got there for when I was younger where I drank a lot. Some things happened to me and I drank every day. I don't do that anymore. I do like to smoke. I don't know that I'll ever give that up. I need to. Yes, I know. But I don't know if I will ever actually give it up. Anyway, I thought that was really important to come out and say because, once again, just because you're a witch does not mean you don't have your own issues. It's that human side of us that, or the shadow side, however you want to put it. And I'll tell you, and I'm sure you've heard this from other witches, when you go, say, you decide to go do a ritual and say you're on the left-hand path. Which, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, the left-hand path, I mean the demons, the demonology side of witchcraft. Lucifer or Satan. That's a whole different other thing. Some of those lower class demons, when you go in there and start doing these rituals, number one, you honestly probably don't know a whole lot about in the first place, haven't done your research, and you're weak-minded, your body's weak, maybe you haven't eaten because you've been doing too many drugs, you haven't been sleeping, everything about you is weak, okay? That's not good. You're opening yourself up for total and complete possession. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. You have to have a healthy mind and body to go into something like that. And even on this path, I know Hecate does not necessarily, I've went to hers drunk before. I sure have. I was upset. My human side was flowing out everywhere. I mean, I don't think there was maybe 1 ounce of witch in me at the second. I was so upset and distraught and confused, and I had every emotion in the world running through me, and I hated myself. I hated everything about my life. I hated everyone around me. I just was miserable. So, I mean, I got over it. I think we all have those moments, you know. The thing is, when you're going through them, just realize that it's not going to last forever. Go to your gods and goddesses. Ask for their help. They know we're only human, you know. We're going to have these times. And you'll be fine. I understand that it takes a lot of willpower at times. I really do. But going out and doing that line of coke just to numb everything, one, it numbs it. Well, if you get the good stuff, you know, 8 hours or so. But in the long run, it's not worth it. Look at all the good people around you that you're pushing away whenever you start doing all that crap. Nobody wants to be around you except the ones that are just like you. And that's no good either. You have no leaders. You know, we might have leaders, but they're not good ones. They're not setting very good examples. They become crutches. You lean on each other because nobody feels alone if they're together. And I mean that by as in birds of a feather flock together. Damn, I rhymed again. There's nobody there to judge them, you know, so everything's fine. And, you know, if that's the way somebody wants to live their life, go for it. I mean, so be it. I personally have had family members with addictions and actually did time in prison for them. Actually, I was thankful for the prison because the way things were going, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been me going to a funeral, you know, and that would have really, really, really hurt me. So, anyway, we'll get off that subject now. Um, if you do want to talk, um, I do more now. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be sitting here 24/7 on my computer because I do work and I have a life. um, but talking to a few of you a day would be fine with me. Um, my email address is thecrone51@gmail.com. Just uh, top out what you would like to talk to me. If you want me to video call you, then tell me. I know sometimes it's a lot easier to talk face to face than it is typing all this crap in. I'm a good typer. I just don't like to sit there and type for hours. If that would be easier. But I just want to let you know that I'm not here for you only in the witchcraft part of it, because they go hand in hand. Um, Even witches need help sometimes. Um, as I said, we're human. There's been times when I thought, well, I'm just not going to be a witch anymore. I'm done. Not going to be a witch. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to stay as far away from witchcraft as I can. Guess what? Nope. I'm telling you, if you are a true witch, once you're a witch, you're always a witch. Okay? This is not something that you dabble in for a few years of your life and then go off. You might go off for a while, but I guarantee you're going to come back to it because it's your path. It's the path that you were supposed to have been on from the minute you were born. It's just the way it is. It's stronger than you realize. That's why I'm always saying that to the newer witches, don't come in here thinking that, poof, this ain't Sabrina, the teenage witch. This isn't Samantha on Bewitched. We are very much reliant on our gods and goddesses, our other beings, because we, as I've always said, cannot possibly contain that much energy inside ourselves at one time. We would literally spontaneously combust if we had all the amount of energy our gods and goddesses do. Even one of them, even in one of their hands in our bodies. You have to understand how magnificent they are, omnificent. I just it can't be calculated in the human mind. We just don't have room for it. But anyway, I'll get off the soapbox. I just want to let y'all know that now I'm not going to turn this into a psych channel. Don't get me wrong. This is still all about my witchery and talking to my witches. But from time to time, if one of my sisters or brothers really needs somebody to talk to that knows a little bit, like I said, I'm no professional. I don't hold a degree. Only I do have a degree in life. That's about it. And I do work in the nursing field and have my entire life. So ask me anything. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it for you. There's all kinds of research you can do. And I know, a lot of the people will tell you, well, just look it up, or read this online and that'll help. Well, yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't help, but I'm also saying a lot of times it helps even better if you have a real human being to talk to. Sometimes just as a sounding board. Excuse me. Maybe you don't want answers. Maybe you don't expect answers. Maybe you just want to pour your heart out for a minute. And believe it or not, that makes you feel better. Do you know that science has proven, and you can look this up, I don't know where you'd find it, but I'm sure nowadays all you have to do is type something in on online and it brings up stuff for you. There's actually been a test done, an experiment. There is a difference between good tears and bad tears. I promise you. You don't have to take my word for it. Look it up. Um, Good tears. When a baby's born. Um, when you get married. When the person you love, adore, and love says, I love you for the first time. All those beautiful, wonderful, happy moments in our lives that do happen. Thank goodness they happen. Um, and you start to tear up. You feel that emotion. Okay. Those are happy tears. Bad tears. When you're depressed. When one of your pets die. When a family member or someone you love dies. I don't like that word. I'm really trying to stop saying that word. When they pass on. When you're actually physically hurting, pain, physical pain, mental pain. You see where I'm going with that. And the tears you shed at that time are bad tears. They actually release a chemical. You're crying out a chemical out of your body when they say cried out, cried out, get all that bad out. I remember a lot of the elders used to say that. And I never understood what they meant by that. But it is proven that that's what you're doing. Haven't you ever noticed whenever you cry and you may even get mad and throw things or stomp or hit something and you cry and you cry and you cry and you get a headache. And when you're finally through, well, there you go. You got a headache. Your body's probably hurting and sore from being so stressed out for that there. The physical feelings are there after you've gotten rid of that poison. You've released it out of your body. Happy. When you cry and you're like, oh, that's so sweet, and that the prettiest baby, and da 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 da, and you're smiling, and everything's wonderful. You don't feel bad after that cry, do you? No. So there is a thing about crying. People say, well, I don't cry. I ain't gonna cry. That's for babies. Well, you know what? Okay. We'll see you around the bend, when you're out there stuck with a needle in your arm because you haven't faced this, or, a bottle in your hand every day you're living on the street because you can't deal or face what's in front of you. And that's what it is. Addiction is a bad thing. It's an easy out. And unfortunately, all of us in our lifetimes will go through it in one shape, form, or fashion, or, some type of it. And it doesn't matter who you are. It's not picky. It doesn't matter if you came from, if your mom and dad were millionaires, or, if your mom and dad worked for minimum wage and y'all lived in a one little bitty, room house and you had to share a lot, it doesn't matter. I have unfortunately known several doctors that just became completely addicted to stuff. Alcohol, drugs, and it eventually destroyed them. Good, wonderful people. And, then they, of all people, know what stress is. I mean, they can you imagine? I mean, I'm just a little nurse, and I think my job's stressful. I can only fathom what may be going through their heads, and they're pushed to keep up with the other doctors in the country club, and you know, who has the best car, and they may not be the situation all of it, just the stress at work alone, all the hours, dealing with people's bad energy all in the world. Carry some obsidian with you, a piece of obsidian. Go home, sage yourself. You know, don't keep that bad energy on you. And this goes for anyone. It doesn't matter. You're human. Okay. The president of the United States, bless his heart. He's had quite a time since he's been in office. He really has. And I know a lot of people don't like him because he's Republican or whatever reason. I try not to look at it that way. I try not to say Republican, Democrat, Independent, black, white, green, yellow. They're human. They're just human. They're people, just like you, just like me. Same color of blood, same problems of everyday life, just in different forms. Um, I felt like writing a letter saying, get some sage. I mean, and with this pandemic going around, it has never been more important for everyone to stick together. I don't care. And these people, when all this, the looting and all that was going on nonstop all day long, every day for a long time, everybody breaking into the Walmart and stealing stuff. That's going to come back on them. It will. That was just wrong in so many different ways. And you don't even have to be a witch to know that that was very, very wrong to go around stealing like that. Stealing is wrong at any given time, you know, but it just shows you how mankind can be. They're selfish, self absorbed, and a lot of times I am honestly ashamed to even be in the category of human. But then I see some of the ones that are wonderful, that do good things. And I take a deep breath. Whew, sigh of relief. Okay. There's still some good ones out there. Um, but you see what I'm saying? What you need to concentrate on now, when you get up in the morning, take a deep breath. We all know, first and foremost, you have got to take care of yourself. Okay. We all know that. You have to. You cannot possibly take care of anybody else without taking care of yourself first. Um, but if you can't, I'm not saying go out and donate all your money. I'm not saying go drag every homeless person you see into your home. That could be dangerous too. I'm saying do what you can, do what you're capable of doing to help someone else. And I promise you, you will feel so good about yourself. I don't care if it's just going to a soup kitchen and helping them serve out plates, you know. Um, and it's hard. It's hard for me at times. Once again, the human thing pops up because I'm thinking, well, why are they sitting here getting a free meal? You know, why the hell aren't they working? It's hard not to think that way. I promise you, it is. Um, and so I did my research, and I felt bad about the way that I was feeling because Some of those people honestly should be in a psychiatric hospital because they really are in need of mental help. And either nobody's addressed it, maybe they don't have anyone, um, maybe without money, nobody will accept them or, help them. So they get a box and maybe a dog and live on the street. It's pretty sad. And I'm telling you, it's hard enough on just a human being to watch something like that. Just a compassionate human being, much less if you're a witch. Because most of us, we just have so much empathy. We're like, oh, we got to help them. We got to help them. And I have done that. I've taken in people that literally just pretty much robbed me blind. Um, I go to work, tell them to make themselves at home. Well, they did. They did. Took all my stuff. I come home, nothing, them or nothing else for that matter was around. Now, that does not mean that that next person you help will do that. That next person may have been a doctor at one time. And maybe, whatever the reason, they may have gotten an addiction um, that got out of control, lost everything. And all their so-called friends and even spouses got rid of them. Wouldn't be around them anymore because they were no longer that person that, you know, they liked in the first place. Well, to me, that's not genuine. That's not real love. That is not real friendship. Now, what should have happened was maybe a fellow doctor. If you have to drag them to get help, at least you'll know you tried. I do understand that after a while, it becomes detrimental to your own life because I'm not going to mention who or anything like that. I'm just not. But an individual um, developed a really bad addiction and was just completely wreaking havoc in my life, stealing from me. And this was a person, one of the people I love most in the whole world and will ever. And I dealt with it, put up with it for years, longer than I should have. And one day I put my foot down, threw him out of my house because I finally just had enough. I had offered help, complete support, everything in my power that I could do, but they just were not going to even attempt to change. So there was only one other option. Put them out. It's like, okay, you want to act like that? You can go live on the street with the rest of them that act like that. Not saying that everybody that lives on the street has an issue like that, but there is a reason they're there. First and foremost, we have to understand the reason. But I don't see anything that can't be fixed. I just don't. You cannot, I don't care who you are, you cannot tell me that something cannot be fixed. And I'll even go as far as to say it can be dealt with. How's that? I'll just say that it can be dealt with. Um, as far as the mental issues of it, if that's what's going on, there's medications for that. There's psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors of all kinds waiting to help, and a lot of them do and will help you for nothing. A lot of programs out for people that don't have money. And you'll figure out once you take that first step, um, it's amazing how everything else will start kind of little by little falling into place. Once you get off the addiction, you feel better. Your body, once it starts getting back to normal, you feel like yourself again. You recognize yourself. You're like, I remember you. Wow, I've missed you, just like seeing an old friend. Then you start wanting to look better, to dress better, to act better, to eat better, take a shower every once in a while, you know. Um, from there, you go to, hey, I wonder if I could get that job. You know, it's like everything just starts falling into place. Once you get over one hurdle, then you can address another one, and so on, until where you're not, how should I put it, indigent anymore. You're not dependent on um, everyone for everything anymore. You become self-reliant. Okay. Any of us are susceptible to that. Doesn't matter who you are. Mental illness it is not picky. It's almost random, you know. Um, it's just amazing how things happen, and that is why I stress mental illness is probably one of the worst that we have, not on our side, um, because it leads to so many other things. Um, known of when I worked at a prison, um, this, and he was a young, well, to me, a young kid. I think he was 19, 20 years old, and he was schizophrenic. And I guess nobody knew this. Well, I'm sorry, but I have been around a lot of schizophrenics, and something's wrong. There's no doubt. They leave no room for doubt that they need to be seen by a doctor. There are so many symptoms and signs and things that they do. There's no doubt, and it should never be a doubt. And if they're young and living at home with you, you have got to make sure they're taking that medication, whatever that doctor says. And what I cannot stand are parents that go, well, he don't need to be on that medication. Okay. Are you a doctor? Have you done your research on this? Why did you take him to a doctor? What did you expect him to say? All right, you decide what you want to do, and the doctor just writes you a script for it. Okay? No, that's not going to happen. That's why they're doctors. They've had training, years and years and years of school, school and studying, and have seen these in clinical situations, in settings, hospitals. Do not, as a parent, go in there and tell a doctor what to do. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't times that a doctor may have made a mistake. They're human too. You can ask them a question. They're going to answer you. If you don't like their opinion, They'll even refer you, to someone else to get a second opinion. There you have it. But then do not get your kid home. He's been diagnosed with schizophrenia. You get your kid home and you take him off that medication because, I don't know, it has some sort of side effects. It makes him shake a little bit. And a lot of them psych meds will at first. You just never know how they're going to react in your body until you start taking them. A lot of people sleep a lot when they're on psych meds until their body reacts, adjusts to them. Sometimes they don't. If it keeps continuing that way, then rethink it with your doctor. Talk to your doctor about it. Say, well, I don't know, and he'll tell you what's going on. But if you go home and you take that kid off the meds, just see him on the bathroom cabinet one morning and go, well, he don't need these anymore. Open them up, pour them down the toilet, flush them. Okay. You have just created a monster, my friend. Yeah. Because a lot of these meds you cannot be just yanked off of them. They will go into a spiral that you have never seen before. And when they crash, it is not funny. Hey, Joy. This is usually a witchy channel, but I got on the mental health issue kick today because I've had so many people sending me emails about it. So that's what I've been on. But I'm about to get off of it. I said that a little bit ago, but it's just something I could go on about forever. There's so much of it. But anyway, and then, the kid gets off, you take him off of him and then wonder why he goes and takes a gun to school and kills his classmates, or kills his little brother and sister, or kills you like this kid did, killed his parents. Yep. Don't put yourself above the doctors and thinking that you know more than they do. If you feel that something isn't right, talk to them about it. They're more than happy to discuss it with you. Maybe work out a different plan, but you need to talk to that doctor. Include that doctor. When you have a sick individual in your home like that doctor becomes your best friend, your best cohort. And that individual is actually in his best interest. I mean, the doctor will, you know what I mean, really cares about what happens to that individual. So, to the mother that wrote me, I hope that answered your question. Do not take him off them psych meds. I pretty much said just watch the video, because things like that I really am very adamant on. Especially, me being in the medical field, I've seen way too much of it. People taking themselves off, or their bodies just cannot. Your body is not designed to adjust that fast to anything on or off. That's why we have what we call DTs. It's a big long name for that. I'll just say withdrawals. So just don't do that to your kid. If you want to get them help, get them help. But if you're really trying and you still feel like, nobody's listening to you, or maybe you're just depressed or whatever, then email me. I have no problem talking to you. You may not like what I have to say a lot of times, because I'm very, well, I don't know how else to be. I'm pretty straightforward. If I'm feeling it or thinking it, you usually know it. I mean, I don't purposely just come out and hurt people's feelings, but I will put it in a way that it'll be like, well, what I don't like is like somebody coming to me for help, and I have done this, brought them in my home, even let them wear my clothes because they didn't have any. It was a young girl. Fixed her hair and even let her use my makeup. Because that's what makes girls feel good. Your hair looks good, you're dressed to the nines, and you have your face on. It makes all of us feel better about ourselves when we look in the mirror and we go, perfect. I thought this might help her because she looked like literally something the dog dragging off the street. And well, I'll tell her, we'll give her a few books to read. I had to go to work. I come home and oh my. She had like 6 other people in my house that I had never laid eyes on. 4 of them were boys. The typical beer bottles and whiskey bottle, and on my coffee table. I lost it. I come unglued. I was like, no, out, and I mean now. Do not ever come around me again. And I said some pretty hateful things, but at the time, I meant them because she made me so mad. I had given her money, rides, went out of my way to take her places. No, I'm just not going that far above and beyond duty again. Or I'm going to see the signs quicker, I hope. But honestly, so many people have rubbed me on that I just don't hardly want them in my house anymore. Not because I think they're gross. It's because I think that they have abused my kindness and my generosity and my hospitality, and I don't like that. So I'll get off that. But as I said, if any of you just need somebody to talk to or vent to, I'm listening. Sometimes that's all you need. I do know how to refer you to a doctor, how to tell you to get to one, look one up. Depends on where you live. But I can always try and find the answer. If I can't, I'll find somebody that does know the answer. That's just how I am. So we'll get off that. But as far as being witches, we are all still prone to those disorders. You have got to learn how to manage them. Health, do it in a healthy manner. Like I said, when I get depressed, I'll go in there and just sit at my altar, light all my candles up, and I'll just sit there. I may not even say anything to Hecate. I may just sit there and be in her presence. A lot of times that makes me feel better. So I hope that answered all the questions that I have been getting emails about. Because once again, I'm not a doctor. I can only give you my opinion and take it with a grain of salt, whatever you're going to do with it. But I've been around the block a few times. Sometimes the classroom of life teaches us more than an actual going down with a book and learning. And that's another way, you can implement, or thing that you can implement in your craft. Understand that not everything's going to be perfect. I am guilty. When I go to do a spell and I put my heart and soul into it, I know I did everything right. I know I said everything right. And it still doesn't come to fruition. What did I do wrong? That's the first thing I always think. What did I do wrong? And it may not be anything I've done wrong. Maybe it was just not meant to be that way. Maybe there's something over a hill that I don't see coming. Who knows? So Do your shadow work. I guarantee you, if you do that shadow work at least once every 3 months, I'll even give you 3 months. Used to, I'd say once a month, but even every 3 months, do your shadow work. And don't say, well, I don't really know of anything I need to work on. There's something all of us could work on. I assure you. Ask someone. They may see things that you don't, or that you don't realize is an issue. But in the long run, it's you that has to live with you. And if you want to be by yourself, or the kind of person that people want to be around, I mean, that's all up to you. Anyway, well, that was an hour-long lecture, wasn't it? I guess Aiden left me. He's like, oh, Lady Adara's on a roll tonight. I'm not listening. Anyway. I was actually going to show y'all a spell for, or not really a spell. I don't guess you'd have to call it a spell. Just a little thing that I do whenever I feel like I'm just being completely stressed out, which you can use some people use the mantras. I have all kinds of music on my computer that I listen to that help me a lot. I mean, it just depends on what resonates with you. Write. I know a pen and paper isn't always handy, but if you keep one handy, when you know you're going through these times, just jot it down right quick. You may have 2 or 3 pages. Just, it may sound like nonsense to everybody else, but to you it means something. Then go back to it later on. And when you're in a better mood, when things are going good, and I promise you, you're going to look at that piece of paper or those papers that you wrote and how you're feeling now, and you'll never see the shadow side plainer than you will doing that, because you're in a whole different frame of mind. You'll be sitting here and the day is wonderful, and uh, everything just went perfect, and you feel good inside and out, and life is good. On one of them days, go back and read what you wrote and think what you would tell yourself, that self that was writing that book or writing that those papers, writing those things down. Because that right there was your shadow self. That was her or him. And this is your other self going, what the hell? What the hell are you doing? A little puppet show there. But it is amazing. I've done it. You're in a bad mood and you write. That's why a lot of people journal. I haven't ever been really one to write a lot of stuff down. I'm even bad about not writing my spells down. All of a sudden I'll be sitting there and a spell just resonate in my head. I'll start rattling off as I'm doing something, as I'm doing my work. And then I, for the life of me, cannot remember what I said after that spell is over. And it was pretty good at the time. But when you're in that moment, you don't have time. You're just, okay, hold on. Let me write this down. Go grab a pen and paper. A little crazy, I know, but that's how human beings are. We are not designed to be perfect. None of us will ever be perfect. Of course, people can strive to become that way, but it's probably not going to happen and they're setting themselves up for really, really bad disappointment. Like I said, you know, people make mistakes. They're going to, and they're going to have bad days. But when it comes to the point to where it's an actual illness, please get help. That's all I'm asking. At least try, you know, and be able to say that you actually really did try. You didn't just give up. Like I said, I'm not going to say any more about all that because I have seen some stuff go on, and it wasn't nice. It wasn't pretty, and I don't ever want to see it again. But I'm real bad about going brought in from one subject into the other. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video because that's what I wanted this one video to be about. It'll probably be the only one I do. And I should have called it psych awareness, you know, or something like that. Or something other than what I did. But it is just so important. And especially in this given time where we are not only everything else is going on, but we now have this pandemic, which seems to be, you know, it's just not a good thing. So I'll leave y'all with that. If you want, I said my email earlier in this video. If you have a subject you want me to talk about, like I said, I'm not going to turn this into a psych channel. So every once in a while, if there's something really urgent, I may just email you back. You know, number one, I don't like airing everybody's dirty laundry out, so I'm sure you would want me to do that. Now, if it's about witchcraft, no problem, because there's probably other people are going to ask this or wondering the same thing that you're asking the question about. So, anyway, I'm going to let you go. I'll probably come back on here and do another one because there is a spell that I want to give y'all. And I was going to try to kind of show you how to do it, but that's hard to do. We'll see how it works out. But I hope this helped someone. Some of you, things will be fine. Just brave the storm. Everything will be fine. Blessed be.